Hello viewers, followers, friends, etc. It's Francis Jeffrey coming to you again, except this time from Beverly Shores, Indiana. I am about to give you all a close-up view of this very interesting building, which I sometimes like to come in for the day from South Bend on my off days to photograph. And of course that is the Beverly Shores train station. Now this building is actually a building that was built in 1929, and it is almost exactly like those train stations that you would see in a Laurel and Hardy movie. And of course the reason for that is because this is a Pueblo style building, and also they have train station scenes in some of their movies from when they were traveling in movies for whatever reason. This building has very interesting looking windows. If you sit in the waiting room, you can study how the sun is shining into the waiting room, and it can create interesting highlights as well as darks, and you'll see that in some of my photos of this building on 500px.com, which you might find if you look up Beverly Shores train station or Beverly Shores, Indiana, or my screen name, which is photogenicconnections.com Francis Jeffrey with 2 C's. That's an interesting shot. It's got a strong eye flow and everything. So now that train is departing, I will show you all the back end of the building. And another thing that I want to talk about is the fact that after I had photographed this building like 100 times and posted quite a few of those images on 500px, I did research into this building and found out that the back area of this building is actually a private residence. And so in other words, the times that I came out here to take photos and stuff, I was photographing this train station without realizing that it's also private living spaces in the same building. So I was photographing people's private house without permission, without knowing it. So I think that is something that I need to cover, because I've talked about privacy rights in some of my prior YouTube videos, and I must remind everyone that anything that is within the public domain can be photographed and video recorded by anyone that wants to photograph it or video record it. And any publicly visible elements of your house fall within the category of the public domain. So as long as they're not doing it often enough to be stalking you or your family or surveillancing you or anything like that, or harassment or voyeurism, is constitutionally protected. And this shows another example as to why people would photograph and video record private houses, because some of them look extremely extravagant like this, and the Constitution in the United States grants the same rights to every citizen. So that means that in order for it to be fair, people now have to legally be allowed to photograph any house that they want to, even if it is a house that 90% of all people think is horribly ugly and has no reason to be photographed whatsoever. I've also photographed this building a couple of times. I just want to see if I can get a shot of it from the opposite side of the street here. Wow, that scenery actually tells an interesting story about the hamlet of Beverly Shores, because this is actually a tiny town, so you could argue that nobody comes here. And it kind of looks that way from this scenery because there's no bikes on the bike rack. So that scenery sort of visually communicates that story. And I guess I will end the video by quickly showing another building in this area that I've photographed and I highly suggest people check out. And that is a restaurant which is right across the street from here called Goblin and the Grocer. I go by the vegan diet, and they do have a couple of good vegan options there. And here it is. This is the awesomest restaurant in this area, and I personally know the owner, and so I think they will be very happy when they see that I took this video. Have a good day.